それでは皆様、次のセッションは Web3 におけるカステディの重要性です。I'll now introduce our panelists. We have Peter Borovykh from Boss Wallet VP of Strategy and Pascal Gauthier, Ledger Chairman and CEO. Chirag Jetani from Diamante Blockchain, Founder and COO. And Jake Stolarski, the NERO Chain CEO. The theme is the importance of custody in Web3. And now, please come up to the stage.
All right, hello. Thank you everyone for being here. Thanks guys. Very excited to speak with all of you today on custody with this amazing panel. But let's get right into it, and we'll start off, just do it with a little introduction. So we'll go right down the line and just introduce yourself and what you're most excited about that you're working on right now.
So hello everyone. Pleasure to be here in the most amazing city where all the blockchain aspect and its adoption originated. So I'm Chirag Jetani. I'm the co-founder and the chief operating officer at Diamante Blockchain. So we are a hybrid layer 1 solution, and we have our wallet aspect as well that's called DM Wallet. So it will be very exciting to discuss over this panel here.
Hey everyone, I'm Pascal Gauthier, I'm CEO at Ledger. Ledger is a security company, and we do security for consumers and enterprise. Japan is already a big market for us. We are shipping a lot of products to Japan. We are selling on Amazon Japan. Maybe with a show of hands, like who owns Ledger in this room? Okay, that's good, but we can do better. So ledger.com, you go there, you buy your products, and we just launched 2 new products, Tax and Flex, which is the future of hardware wallet and the future of self-custody, and this is what we're here to talk about. But equally, we have an enterprise business, and already Crypto Garage, for example, is one of our customers here. So very happy to be in Japan, and I'm looking forward to explore more opportunities here.
Hi guys, my name is Peter. I'm VP of Strategy at Boss Wallet, the new wallet. So we have something that most projects in Web3 don't have, which is access to Asia, specifically access to China, which is very interesting to many people. And the most exciting feature at this point of time that we are working on is us being a non-custodial wallet, therefore you control your crypto, is the ability to transact without having native coin as gas. That's really exciting. So at this point of time, supporting 120 plus chains, expanding day by day.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'll introduce what I'm most excited about. Yeah, Jake from NERO Chain, very excited to be building a modular blockchain that is rolling out a paymaster, which allows any application to set any gas and LDFI denominations for their users. And then we as the blockchain sort of reverse engineer the trade-off space on their behalf. So really giving applications their kind of first utility for many of their tokens. Let's get right into the custody discussion. So we'll start off with an easy one. I'm gonna give it to Pascal, of course. Let's just do a quick refresher on the main differences between custodial and non-custodial wallets or solutions.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, let me give you a fun fact. I've done 2 joint ventures in my life. The first one was when I was in advertising, and it's relevant to your question, by the way. So one was when I was in advertising with Yahoo Japan and my company Criteo. And the second one is actually related to custody and with a Japanese bank called Nomura. And so I actually really like to do joint ventures with, with Japanese companies. And so what we've built with Nomura is a company called Komainu. And Komainu is a custodian versus what Ledger is offering in terms of technology services, which allows you to do self-custody. And the difference is very easy. It's like, who has the private keys? If I own my private keys, I am in self-custody, and if I trust a third party with my private keys, I am in their custody. So it's a very black and white situation. You have maybe a gray area in the middle is if you share the key, and so various actors have one signature, but legally speaking, you always have a custodian. So even in the event of sharing the key or sharing the signature on the key, you always end up having legally a custodian. So typically, I mentioned Crypto Garage, which is also one of our partners. And so that's what Crypto Garage does. Like, they have shared custody with their customers, but they are the custodian. So again, it's very black and white, and even in the gray area, if you have even part of the key, you become the custodian.
Great. So that kind of moves right into the next question, which is, it sounds like everything exists on a spectrum, right? So between usability and ultimate security. So what would you say? We'll start with Chirag on this one. What would you say, for DeFi platforms or any kind of infra? How do you balance kind of between like robust security and user experience? So being on somewhere in the middle of the spectrum.
So security is the most important aspect of any industry, right? So when we talk about like a balancing between the user experience and the security thing, so user experience is something that everyone is looking for. Like, everyone wants to become very with ease in terms of how they utilize any of the application. It may be a custodial wallet, or it may be any blockchain applications or EFI applications. So how do you balance that? So most important thing is how the knowledge is being passed. Like, is there a right academy to pass that particular knowledge about it? To make the user aware of like what is the most important factor? Like, how do you safeguard yourself on the security aspect? So right now, when we consider like the individuals moving from Web 2 to Web 3 is enormous, and it's just a beginning. So it's important to educate them with the right knowledge, and we have a lot of KOLs already starting to do that, right? And those are the people who are changing the way how Web3 industry works. They are the voice of the mass. And when we talk about the security aspect of it, I think a lot of good wallets like Ledger, they are already taking that part of it. They are giving that tutorials in terms of how to utilize the wallet. There are a lot of YouTube videos on that. And in the way we talk about more on the securing part of it, and I'm very sure that Pascal and his team at the Ledger are also working on most important factors in terms of like when we feel that, okay, the quantum computing is coming, right? So already these guys would have been working on how to protect the wallets, the keys and everything from the quantum computing part of it. So, and when we talk about the user interface, right, user experience is one thing, user interface is one thing. It's about having those experience with a minimalistic views, right? And it's like very easy. Right now, let's say if I want someone to utilize, let's say a millennial, like a 21, 22-year-old, they'll be very, with ease, they will be just switching from one wallet to different wallet. But when we talk about, let's say, an individual who is like above 40, 45, are they really knowledgeable on that part of it? That is where the user experience is most important part. And I really like Pascal, I use your Ledger platform and really like what you guys are doing. So it's wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let me jump in on the security, right? Because I think that's the pinnacle of today's conversations overall. So there's this myth that blockchain overall is super insecure for an average user. And we should all try to improve the user experience to such a way that, oh, my grandma can fix it, right? But your grandma cannot install Wi-Fi connection without your help. right? That's the most important part. If the internet all of a sudden goes out, she's helpless. So there's no such thing as a UX versus security. So prepare 2 bottles for the questions for the audience. So 2 questions, 2 prizes. First of all, Crystal just came out with a report a couple months ago, total number of hacks, rug pulls, everything, right? Breaches, DeFi, everything, since 2011. What is the total size of all those breaches? Anybody, just pick a number. Whoever is the closest one gets a bottle. Just scream. 50 billion? Good guess. Who else? It's a bit lower than that. Who else? Anybody, just pick a number.
More or less than 50 billion.
50 billion, yeah. The answer is 20 billion. Okay, so, gentlemen, you gotta get the prize. 20 billion. So 20 billion in hacks across all chains, not just DeFi, everything all together. So now, what is the volume, trading volume of all the DeFi protocols since 2018? That's another prize. How much? Trading volume, DeFi protocols since 2018. Anybody guess any number? You can say it again. Help me. Yeah, how much? The answer is 100 trillion. So we have $100 trillion worth of volume and only 20 billion hacks. And again, that's just DeFi for the volume, and hacks, DeFi chains, everything, including Mt. Gox. So that represents 0.02%, the hacks. So we should not be focusing on the security as much if we provide non-custodial wallets as we do at Boss Wallet. What we should be focusing on is better sustainable tokenomics. That's what nobody's talking about. Everybody's talking about, oh, how it's insecure, I can lose my keys. No, no, no. The big elephant in the room is the fact that the TVL in DeFi protocols is down 80% since all-time highs because the incentive mechanism is just bad. We just need to work on that.
I 100% agree with that. Yeah, it's one of the biggest problems in the industry, and something that we're also closely focused on is giving back some of this demand for ecosystem tokens that have good projects, but kind of no real utility for those tokens. But your point about the kind of ratio between the total number of hacks and the total number of volume kind of brings up a good point. And I kind of think of it as like in sports, like usually, the goalie isn't the one that gets the glory, right, all the time. Like people remember the goals that went in. And I feel like in kind of these security environments, like, if people don't, get to see all of the hacks that you prevented, and if there was a way that they could do that, you could essentially, show a little bit more glory. They only remember the ones that, that show up on the headlines because they're massive numbers. But Pascal, just in terms of like your answer to that question.
I think usually when it comes to money, security is paramount, right? So you wouldn't imagine Fort Knox without security. Just like you wouldn't put gold in a building and assuming that no one is going to steal it. And especially that it's a bit of a cat and mouse game. So the more value you have in a system, the more hackers will actually try to attack the system. You could do the math of like, 20 billion over like hundreds of trillion. You can do the math over just 2 trillion of market cap today. And so 20 billion is still like is still a big number. And whatever the ratio is, there is something about confidence that you have in the system, right? So if you put $1,000 in the system and you get hacked for $1,000, you would say, well, $1,000 is not a lot, but still, you don't trust the system anymore. And the problem with crypto, very different from, other form of values is, once it's gone, it's gone. Like if I take the secrets away from you, then it becomes my secret, and the money is no longer yours. Where if you try to steal money from a bank, you can always reverse a transaction. The immutable, the fact that blockchains are immutable is, part of the security issue. And if you look at the future, there is today and there is the future. If you look at the future and you feel that, tokenization is a force, and the same way that we became digital beings, now we're going to become tokenized beings. And the reason why this is going to happen is because digital private property now exists. Bitcoin was the first time that you could own something digital, and so you're going to see more and more of this. And whether it's your money, whether it's your identity, whether it's your health data, etc., for the average consumer, the fact that you rely on something that is not 100% in terms of security is not very future-proof. You won't be able to have all your money, all your identity, etc., on a ledger, for example, if you don't think you're close to 100% security. Does 100% security exist? It's debatable. Like, right now I would say, yes, but again, it's a cat and mouse game, and so you cannot stop working. Meaning, like, we're discussing quantum computing, and I don't think quantum computing is happening tomorrow. However, it is something that you keep in mind. This is something that you do in terms of R&D. You look at the papers that are published, because the day that it comes, like, you need to have the defense ready. So it's an ever-moving target to make sure that you're always as close as possible to 100%, if not 100%, and work hard so it happens. There are recent hacks that shows that hackers understand that by deploying things into Chrome or by deploying something into app stores, they can actually drain a lot of wallets. And so I think we are at the beginning of big hacks. You already have rogue states or rogue organizations that are making crypto their sort of lifeline in terms of getting money. Think North Korea hacking South Korea all the time, for example, and crypto being a big part of their missile nuclear program. So I think hacking crypto is a problem today. It's going to be a bigger problem tomorrow, and the more you put on blockchain, the bigger the problem becomes. So it is definitely something to worry about. But what needs to be done is security and ease of use at the same time, to come back on your question, because the problem is we come from a world of convenience. So if you use your iPhone, or if you use your Android, we are the yes, yes, yes generation. You download an app, you click yes, yes, yes. And so we have to sort of learn the new ways of protecting value online by not clicking yes on everything, and by, sometimes compromising like a little bit of usability for more security. Typically with Ledger, like, you need to have like an external device to connect to your phone, so it's not as convenient as saying yes, yes, yes on your phone, but this is how you get the highest grade of security. In time, also, that problem needs to be fixed, because if you want everybody to be secure, and if you want to address billions of people, then you need to fix that security versus usability product. This is something that Ledger is working a lot on, and we believe that this is something that will make crypto mass market, if you can actually solve for that problem. And I think that problem is solvable, actually. I don't think that because it's security, it needs to be hard to use. I think you can make it very secure and very easy to use, but you need sometimes to get there.
Yeah, it's a good point. The yes, yes, yes generation. It reminded me of something that I had read recently, which was after the Cambridge Analytica event, which was the Facebook's big, data breach compromise, which made, all kinds of news, and, was sort of a big moment in data privacy breach. The stat was something like the drop-off, or the drop-off in usage in Facebook was like something like 1% measured over, like 2 months, after that. Kind of everyone knew, right, that this data privacy issue was happening, but or they had heard that the breach had happened, but they didn't lose any market share. And so my next question is sort of like, this is something that I think about for myself as somebody who has a lot of different, wallets across a bunch of different chains, and 50 to 100 different, EOAs and things like that. I'm worried, like, I'm my own worst enemy, right? And I think that in a lot of ways, like, we as humans are fallible and are sort of our own worst enemies when it comes to like these best practices for security. So I'll start with Chirag, as somebody who's, uses a Ledger wallet and also is making sure that, his company's assets are secure and that type of thing. What are some of the best practices that you have, or things that you like put in place for making sure that, you're protected against yourself and all of your own, human decisions?
So for this, the answer is very simple. Like, you use a wallet that supports multiple assets. And we have already like a couple of wallets in the panel, so you can start exploring them. But I personally like the Ledger. I have not tried Boss Wallet, but definitely looking to try that. So, and it's not always about just putting a control in your singular hand, right? So let's say, so what I always think, like, I have the control of my assets. Even if I use Ledger or any other wallet, I know. Or maybe I'll just keep a backup of my keys, store it in some vault or in some bank or something. But what important factor it doesn't solve is like what happens if I'm not live anymore, right? So we need to have those practices in place that, let's say, on the regulatory side as well, maybe put a will or something, categorize on how to recover your wallets when you don't have, when you are not in your 100% control of it. So that is the most important factor. So that is something that definitely everyone should really think about it very seriously so that it solves a lot of problems for an individual. Now this next thing when we say like, how do you secure it? Like, so I have a question for Pascal on that. Like, can you guys build something that has controls where, let's say, I can give some controls to, let's say, my wife or even my friend or even my colleague. So maybe go with a hybrid approach that some, let's say, if I'm not in the control of the keys, with certain algorithms or certain access or rule controls or something, I can give that access to someone else in some particular situation.
Yeah, so sort of key management is already something that we do for the enterprise business. It's actually, what we offer is not just the private key security, but also is, how you manage those private keys, because from an enterprise standpoint, you have, as a company, many people accessing the pot of crypto, and so if you only have like one private key, we can easily see that it doesn't work. So call it multi-sig on steroid. That's what we've done for the enterprise business. And we've done it first for the enterprise business because that was where the need was the most obvious, I would say, because it's just a non-starter if you don't have this. And we are bringing back everything that we learned with the enterprise business to the consumer business, and it's something that is on the roadmap. So call it multi-sig or various kind of multi-sig that we have in mind to do actually what you just described, which is how do I put some kind of governance on top of my crypto for, many reasons. Like, if it's sort of past midnight, is it okay to do a $1 million transaction without, I don't know, my lawyer countersigning my transaction, or something like that, Something that you have with your bank account today, there are actually many rules on how you can spend your money. One could say, I don't like other people to control my money, but equally, we all understand that, to have some kind of administration on top of money is not necessarily bad. It prevents you from doing stupid things. It prevents also from certain kind of attacks, and so on and so forth. And so now the short answer is yes, we're working on it, and it's the 25. It's on the 25 roadmap.
Yeah, and we have already developed such solutions. So as you mentioned, we have 100 different chains. And you have 100 different private keys. So how do you manage that? So what Boss Wallet has integrated is something called BIP. So the Bitcoin Improvement Proposal 44, which is responsible for uniting all the private keys together. So at this point of time, you have 100 different chains. You can have just one private key. And since it's a deterministic pair between public and private, that is all possible. And it's possible to be done in a fully decentralized, fully non-custodial fashion. So yes, at this point of time, there's a risk of just losing this one seed phrase. So if you lose it, you kind of lose access to all the blockchains. That's true. However, the question is this: what's more difficult, controlling 100 and storing 100 different seed phrases, or just one? And the other kind of point that you asked, like the direct question is, you are your worst enemy. Like, what do you do as far as security? Let me ask you a question. How much of your net worth is in crypto right now, range-wise, if you can comment? No comment possible as well, but roughly how much?
Percentage-wise, most.
Most. Yeah, so same situation. So I know somebody personally who was a witness in a CFTC case. His funds have been completely frozen. Completely. He was just a witness. And at this point of time, he's 90% into Bitcoin. Everybody calls him crazy. The guy is not a tech guy. He learned everything about custody, self-custody, how to store, all the proper security, cybersecurity measures, etc., just to protect his holdings. Why? Because if he doesn't do that, if he doesn't move his stuff in crypto, then his bank can be frozen again for no reason, right? So the reason why we have security issues and why we kind of have to improve this UX all the time, etc., is because people just don't realize how serious it could be if they don't know the proper mechanics and techniques to store their crypto. Because they think it's just games. Oh, like I have some airdrops, whatever. 0.01% of their net worth is there. They don't care. But if you allocate significant majority of your net worth into crypto, I mean, it's very easy to be secure.
Yeah, it's
although you'll be surprised. You know, I've had many horror stories where people had like a lot of money in crypto and sort of zero security around it. There is certainly an element of education, right? And this is very normal. When you change technology like this, you go from, you know, I own nothing digitally to now I own something. It actually has a lot of value. You know, there are a lot of things that you need to learn, and there are many companies that are, you know, spending a lot of money.
What is there to learn? How to store a private key and put it put it in a secure place. What is there to learn?
Like a lot. Look, you know, you're looking at it from a standpoint of someone who understands really well the space, but you know, we have a customer success and millions of customers. I can tell you that just to learn not to share your 24 words with someone else is something that people need to learn. You know, it's as simple as that.
But it doesn't take a PhD. That's the whole point.
Yes, but like, you know, so look at your customer success, like talk to your customers, and you will see that if you don't repeat on every page, and if you don't say it everywhere, don't share your 24 words, people share the 24 words online. So typically, one of the hacks that is possible is you fake a Ledger Live app, you put it in the Windows App Store. You know, people don't realize, and Windows App Store, you know, let it ride for some fucked up reason, okay? People don't realize that they have the wrong app. They don't do a genuine check, for example, which they should do with their Ledger. The app is asking them for 24 words, and they're entering 24 words on the web, on an app, on a mobile phone, which they shouldn't do. And this is, you could say this is trivial and everybody should know that, but the truth is, you know, this is one of the most common attack, and people asking for you 24 words online, and people actually give it. So education is very paramount for people to understand not to do that. And even if it seems very trivial, it is one of the biggest, easiest hack for hackers, and this is what they do. And this is also why they don't have to do hacks that are more clever than this right now, because just by doing these hacks, it's called phishing. You know, all these phishing attacks work very well. Most hacks today that are targeting users are very simple hacks. They're not very difficult. It's a phishing attack. Please give me your 24 words. Trust me, I'm Ledger, or trust me, I'm Trezor, or trust me, I'm, you know, anyone. And people very easily give 24 words, and we spend a lot of time educating people on that, you know, thing that seems so trivial, but still, you know, it is something that people have to figure it out, and it's not so easy to understand if you don't do this every day. Like, you know, you got into crypto because, you know, you're attracted by, you know, the speculation aspect of it, and you think that Bitcoin is going to go to the moon. But again, we come from the yes, yes, yes generation. So for you, like, you know, somebody is going to take care of your security. The fact that you have to think about your digital security, even that is very new before. With your phone or with your computer, like, you know, when did you have to take care of your security? Maybe at the beginning of the web where you had to download, you know, those kind of, you know, the...
anti-phishing or...
No, you know, the software on your computer to put Norton and, you know, the antivirus kind of stuff. But this is long gone. So, you know, people, when they have an iPhone, the iPhone does the security for you. Like, you don't need to worry about it. So we shouldn't underestimate, you know, and especially for the larger audience. Okay, we've onboarded already a few tens of millions of consumers on public blockchains. That's okay, but that's not billions. And a lot of people, the billion people that are coming, or the hundreds of million people that are coming, you know, they have to be educated to understand what's going on. In the same way, you know, this is money. You think people understand money? You think people understand how to invest their money? Most people don't know. Like, you know, all of this is very difficult, and so I think we should appreciate that.
So that's the whole point. Like, if we are focusing just on the UX, trying to make it easy on purpose, we actually ruining customer experience, right? We should be focusing on the right motivation, and the right motivation has been there 10 years ago. Now, with Web 2.5, clustering the space, it's definitely minimizing the right motivation for entering the Web3 space, which is full control of your financial future. But no, we say, let's make it super simple. And then we want them to also, for some reason, want to be educated. So those two are contradictory messages, simple logic here. So we should be focusing more on the right motivation.
I think you contradict yourself as well. Like, user experience was most important. Like, the second question, what he asks is like, is user experience related to security? Yes, it is related. So now you're saying that user experience is not related. Now, first thing that you say, now you are saying it's related. So you're contradicting yourself because we should not talk about the audience that are already knowledgeable. It's about people who are coming new to the Web3 space. And that is what is creating a difference. And that's what it's going to create a future.
Well, a lot of differing opinions, but I think what's clear is that there's no obvious solution for how to do perfect custody. I think that the right blend for yourself, what you're comfortable with, what you're willing to have in any of these digital solutions, considering the risk scenarios, considering worst case scenarios, but understanding that this is what, as Peter said, enables and empowers your financial freedom and your financial future. So, these are tools that have their own risks, and full permissionless systems, like as Pascal said earlier, that once it's gone, it's gone. You can do some things that maybe to recover, but that is part of the risk in playing in this ecosystem. So. Thank you, everyone. I think that was some amazing answers, and thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please, at this time, we'd like to take a commemorative photo. If you could all stand in the center and look at the center aisle. We'll take a photograph there. これから記念写真を撮っていただきたいと思います。And we might have the photograph available if you could just wait on the side for a few minutes. Not sure if it's available or not. Okay. Yeah, on the side, over there, towards your left. Thanks so much. もう一度大きな拍手をお送りください。それでは次のセッションまでしばらくお待ちください。If you could wait just a few more minutes, we'll be starting our next session very soon. Thank you.